When we introduced business analysis in the previous course, we said that it really consisted of 4 key steps. First among these is to determine problems and to identify business needs. That's some of what we try to accomplish during needs assessment. Moving forward, we then identify and recommend viable solutions in order to meet these needs. Following that, we want to elicit, document, and manage stakeholder requirements in order to meet business and project objectives. So up until this point, we've identified our needs, we have come up with some solutions that might be able to meet those needs, and now we've begun to develop and document and gather the requirements to make those solutions come to life. After that, the final step is to facilitate the implementation of the product, service, or end result of either the program or project that typically follows a business analysis process. Now, each of these 4 different components can potentially suffer if we don't take the time to effectively plan our business analysis activities. When it comes to determining problems and identifying business needs, we may not fully understand what the business requirements are if we don't plan properly for our business analysis. We might not have the correct amount of time with stakeholders to understand the issue at hand. We may not have gathered the information necessary to fully understand the issue at hand. Furthermore, even if we believe we have a full understanding, we might actually have a misunderstanding regarding what our business needs are. This can lead to mistranslation of problems into needs, where we think we understand what the problem is, but we really haven't figured it all the way out. In some cases, this may truly be a misinterpretation. In other cases, this may be a failure for root cause analysis to dive deeply enough to get past symptoms and to understand what the true underlying issues might be. When it comes to identifying and recommending viable solutions in order to meet needs, we may not fully solve the underlying problems or meet all needs if we don't plan properly up front. We may also lead to an over-engineered or costly solution. So in either case, we really haven't done our job very effectively. If we don't plan properly, perhaps the solution that we recommend doesn't really consider all aspects of the problem at hand. Or we may end up thinking that we need a very complex overhaul of a wide number of systems in order to solve the problem, when in fact there was a more pragmatic and elegant solution available to us if only we had been able to dive a little deeper or understand the root problem a little more clearly. When it comes to eliciting, documenting, and managing stakeholder requirements in order to meet those business and project objectives, poor planning may result in us not being clear on which priorities are truly most important. We may think that the ones that we hear about most often are the ones that should be highest on the list. But if we're hearing about certain requirements being absolutely critical from some of our most valuable stakeholders, the ones who truly understand the problem best or need the solution the most, then we really need to consider their feedback more strongly and weight it more heavily than those who might be interested in the project but not actually have a direct stake. Furthermore, we may have a lack of support from our stakeholders, given a lack of contextual understanding of the project that's taking place. If we don't build the solution in order to properly address their needs, then it won't be supported. Just the same, if we don't build that support by helping them understand how we're meeting their needs and why this is important, then we may not be able to move forward successfully either. Finally, when it comes to facilitating the implementation of the product, service, or end result of the project or program that follows up on our business analysis, we may not have a complete implementation, or we may implement our solution incorrectly. This is often the case if we don't have proper controls in place, ways for us to go back in the future and make sure that we've actually met the objectives and that our objectives still match up with the business needs that we originally found when analysis began. Furthermore, it may lead to a lack of buy-in by the end user or other recipient based on the fact that what they see doesn't align with what their problems are now that we've reached the end of the project. Planning leads to a better understanding of 3 key areas. First is the scope of business analysis that should take place. By understanding all of the different parameters of business analysis up front, we'll know how formal we need to be, how deeply we should dive, how much money and resources we have at our disposal, how much time we can take, what kind of access to stakeholders will be granted, and so on, allowing us to plan our business analysis to be as effective as possible, while limiting expectations to what would be realistic. We also have a better feel for the scope of the potential project. This is a direct result of conducting more effective business analysis. Third, we also have a better understanding of what our stakeholder expectations might be, how that can influence what the scope of our business analysis and the project might be, and how we should tailor our analysis to best fit those preferences while still meeting the underlying strategic needs necessary. Effective planning leads to a variety of positive results. Among these are better estimations in terms of how long it will take for us to conduct business analysis, how many elicitation sessions might be necessary for stakeholders, what type of input we need to expect from them, and more. This leads to more realistic expectations from all stakeholders involved regarding the complexity of the business analysis process, how long it will take, and what they should expect as a result. They'll also better understand what their roles in the business analysis process might be. Some people might want to be very involved with setting the final list of requirements or working on the prioritization process. In some cases, that might be effective, and in others, that might be an impediment to the work that we're doing based on what their actual role in the project is compared to what they perceive their role to be. By setting these expectations up front, we can help to avoid conflict later and lead to increased buy-in from our stakeholders. Finally, we can also simply have a more efficient business analysis process if we consider a lot of these questions up front, rather than as we go on with our work.